saw this ad in our town and I just could not believe it. It is a garage sale fundraiser to pay off kids' lunch bills at school. Now, that sounds in general like it's a really noble thing to do. You would think, oh, well, that's great. They're doing a fundraiser and they're going to help pay off kids' lunch bills. Okay, yeah, that sounds great, except that why are these kids having a lunch bill? If you can't afford your kids' school lunches, then you need to be making them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at home with an apple or an orange or whatever, and buy a little lunchbox thermos and fill it with water for them to take to school. My kids did that. Let's see, I will have had kids in school for 20 years now. All 4 of them, that's what they did. Peanut butter and jelly with an apple or an orange or a banana, chicken noodle soup in a little thermos. We always had a refillable water bottle that they put in their lunchbox. That's what they took to school, and their lunches cost me less than $1.
This video is brought to you by our Dining on a Dime cookbook. We have quick and easy recipes your family will love to help you get in and out of the kitchen fast. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. It's 25% off now.
I'm sorry, but it is absolutely irresponsible of parents to expect the school to pay for their lunches and not feed your own child. First of all, if you're that poor, then you will qualify for free school lunches or reduced school lunches, first of all. I don't know of a school district in the country that doesn't have a free lunch or reduced lunch program. So if your income is that low, then you can apply for free or reduced lunches. If you don't qualify for those, that means your income is high enough that you can pay for your kids' school lunches. Other people do not need to be paying to feed your children. Now, what does this all have to do? You're like, Tara, what does this have to do with me? Let me tell you, I don't support those kinds of things. Because to me, that is just enabling people to keep themselves in poverty and not be responsible for their bills, not be responsible to feed their own children. I think it's just wrong. It's the same reason why I won't support food banks. I refuse to give anything to food banks because the majority of those people who are going to food banks, most of them can afford food. They just don't want to. I know one lady, she would go to the food bank all the time and get free food, yet she had hundreds of dollars of makeup and hair supplies, name brand stuff that you only got at the salon. Hairspray, $25, gel for $20. She had hundreds of dollars of hair and makeup supplies, and yet she was going to the food bank. They have an iPhone, but they're going to the food bank. They're driving a new car. They're going to the food bank. They have brand new clothes, brand new purse, brand new hair extensions, all this stuff, and they're going to the food bank. I refuse to support and continue to enable those people when they can afford food. They just don't want to. And I know I'm going to get all of these people saying, you're just being so judgmental. You don't know their situation. Maybe their mom gave them this. Maybe their dad. Listen, if that's the case, they need to be telling their mom and dad, listen, I appreciate you buying me the latest new iPhone, but I need, instead of that new phone, I need that $1,500 for groceries for 6 months, please. But they're not doing that. They're not saying, no, please don't go buy me that car, which is ridiculous. We all know full good and well that they're not being given these things. And that is the very exceptional case when that is actually happening. But I guarantee you, the majority of people who have all these new things and are driving up and all that at the food bank, they're not being given those things. And if it's a situation where, well, you don't know, maybe they just lost their job. Okay, then why were you not saving money and putting it aside so that when you lost your job, you could still continue to pay your bills? See, the problem is here in America, we don't know what true poverty is. We don't have to say no. We don't have to do without. Yesterday in church, the pastor was talking and he said, someone in Africa had said one time, Americans in churches don't talk about heaven because they don't need to, because they are so affluent that they don't have the need to look for something better in their lives later. They don't have to look forward to something else that's even better because their lives are so affluent right now. And he's right. He's absolutely 100% right. So that's why when I see things like this fundraiser to pay off the kids' school lunches, I think, okay, well, that's nice in gesture, but all you're doing is just enabling these people. When I see food being raised for the food bank, well, that's nice, but you're just enabling these people. So we need to be very careful that we use our resources in a way that is helping people be lifted up and not just enabling them and continuing them in their poverty because they don't want to figure out how to better themselves and to make their lives better. They don't want to say no to the tattoos. They don't want to say no to the Starbucks. They don't want to say no to eating out. They don't want to say no to the new car. They don't want to say no to going on vacation. Until you get to the point where you're saying no to all of those things and can take responsibility for yourself, you're never going to have the self-confidence to do it yourself. You're never going to have the self-confidence to know, okay, wait a minute, I just lost my job. I can make it. I have savings, so while I'm looking for a job, I can be paying my bills. I'm out of debt, so I just lost my job, but at least I don't have all this credit card debt and student loans and car payments on top of all my regular bills. Because I made sure I didn't have any of those things so that if I lost my job, I only had to pay for my basic expenses. And there's a lot to be said for people having the confidence to take care of themselves. That's the way I saw today that they're talking about cutting some of the welfare stuff. I think that's great. These people who are having child after child after child just so that they can stay on welfare, that's not okay. I get that you don't want to work, but that's not my responsibility. If you don't want to work, I'm not going to be paying your bills. So the point of all of this is to say, as someone who does have money to donate to these things, I don't donate to these things. And I specifically choose not to because I'm not going to continue to enable people when they could be paying for these things themselves, but they don't want to. They could be sending their kid a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and an apple and a thermos of water to school for their lunches, but they don't want to. They could be buying groceries, but they'd rather be paying for their smartphone. They just don't want to. So I'm going to not want to support that. And I'm giving you permission to say no to these things also. A lot of people feel really compassionate towards these people, and that's great. I understand that. But there's a difference between compassion and enabling. And it's gotten to the point in America where the majority of that is just enabling people instead of being truly compassionate towards someone who is really in need and really needs help. So as someone who does have the money to do these things, I'm also giving you permission to say no so that when you're asked to support these things, you can say, no, I think I'll pass. Thank you for asking. And just leave it at that. You don't need to explain nothing. No is a complete sentence. If you guys want more ideas on how to save money and get out of debt, please watch this video next. We will see you guys next time, livingonadime.com.